It is finally raining here in Modesto. Well, I guess Riverbank. It was raining all day yesterday, raining all day today, and we're getting quite a good shower right now. So it's a very rare occurrence. I thought I'd share it with you. So here is my quick ratings of the first or last 10 albums in the 500 albums list I am listening to. So this is going to be albums 500 through 491. I'll do them in 10 album increments to keep it sort of organized, and so I can whip through them kind of fast. Alright, so number 500 is an album by OutKast, which is a hip-hop duo from Atlanta. And the album, I believe, is from 1998, called Aquemini. I gave this album a 3 out of 4. If you look in the description, you'll see the sort of the rating rubric I use for all these albums, and sort of a quick check of what I thought of them. I did enjoy it, and I would listen to it again. 499 was B.B. King's Live at Cook County Jail, and that was a good album if you enjoy blues, which I enjoy on a limited basis. It gets a little repetitive unless you're like really into blues, but the playing is good, and the classic B.B. King song "The Thrill Is Gone" is excellent. Alright, next up, 498 was the Stone Roses self-titled album from 1989. The Stone Roses were a band from Britain, and you can really hear the influences from the late 80s sort of blending with where the music in the 1990s was heading in a really interesting way. I was not expecting to enjoy this album, but I liked it quite a bit. Number 497 was the third album by the White Stripes called White Blood Cells. I expected to enjoy this more than I actually did. I appreciate Jack White's aesthetic. I appreciate, and I like his voice and his guitar playing. This album in particular is extremely raw, unproduced almost entirely. That's the entire idea behind the band, right? But it gives it an unfinished quality that I don't really care for, and I don't really like Meg White's drumming. So for that album, rating of 2.5 out of 4. Next up, 496 is the self-titled album by Boz Scaggs. It's sort of bluesy R&B rock, blues rock, classic rock-ish, a little bit of country rock in there. This album was a dud for me. I did not care for it almost at all. I really enjoyed one song. One song only saved this from being a rating of 1 for me, and that's the song called Loan Me a Dime, which is a 10+ minute epic, sort of slowly rising in intensity, and everything just builds and builds and builds to just a great ending. It's a really, really cool song. Every other song on this album, though, so I'll give this a 2, and only because of that one song. The rest of it for me was no good. Number 495 was an album by Bonnie Rait called Give It Up. Wow, I was amazed at how much I enjoyed this album. The first album of this adventure to hit a 4 rating from me. And I listened to it a few times, and every time I heard it, I heard something new to enjoy, and I just liked it more and more and more. The guitar playing on it is excellent, and I believe a lot of it is Bonnie herself, who I did not realize was such a good guitar player. A lot more rock and roll than country, which I was surprised. I guess I never listened to Bonnie Rait before, but I was surprised at how much rock and blues was in this album as compared to country. So I super enjoyed it, and I really recommend it. The most out of all 10 albums that I am so far in. Number 494 is an album by a duo called MGMT. The name of this album from 2008 is Oracular Spectacular. I have mixed feelings about this album. Some of the songs were interesting, some of it worked for me, and some of it I had no use for. So because of that, I'll give it a 2. Okay, next up is an album by the band Wilco, who's been around for quite a while. And we've made it to 492, which is Touch by the Eurythmics. First thing that sprang to my mind when I started hearing this was, hello, frequency modulation synthesis. Hello, hey. Where are you going? Which that very 80s style of synth pop which by now is almost cliche. It's all over that record. But despite the initially corny feeling of that sort of 80s synth pop, I feel like I always have to fight through a little bit when I hear it. Despite that, some of the songs are actually pretty good. A couple songs that were too synthy, too corny for me. I did like the big hit that came from that album, which is, I think, Here Comes the Rain Again. I like that one. There was one more that I enjoyed quite a bit that I can't remember the name of. So I'll give this album a 2.5 out of 4. I wouldn't turn it off if it came up again, but I don't know if I'd necessarily seek it out again. And finally, 491, Albert King's Born Under a Bad Sign. Blue, is that, what color is that? Yeah, okay, let's go and get dinner. Okay. Anyway, super great album. Just that restored my faith in the blues. Whereas the B.B. King record that I mentioned earlier, live at Cook County Jail, was very 12-bar bluesy, with the same bass lines, the same drum patterns, good soloing, but overall rather repetitive. This album, even though it's still blues, guitar driven, is a lot more rocky. So a lot of soul, great guitar playing, good songwriting. I super enjoyed this album, and I'll give it a 3 as well. So that is my quick reviews of the albums 500 through 491. So far, these are all brand new albums. I haven't heard any of them prior to this little exercise. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. I'll see you soon.